Stop waiting. No one is coming to rescue your dream. No one is handing you a permission slip to start becoming the person you know you're meant to be. You've got a vision. Maybe it's blurry. Maybe it's bold, but it's there. And yet so many people live on pause, waiting for the right time, waiting until they're less scared, waiting for a sign, a plan, or some kind of cosmic green light. Let me break this down for you. There is no perfect time. That's the lie. That's the trap. The right moment is a myth dressed up in comfort. It's a convenient excuse we use to delay becoming who we know we're capable of being. And the longer you wait, the louder the voice of doubt gets. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's that you've trained yourself to wait instead of move. And here's what most people miss. Your identity is shaped by your behavior, not your intention. You don't become courageous by thinking brave thoughts. You become courageous by doing something that terrifies you and surviving it, repeating it, owning it. Becoming is about repetition, not revelation. No one wakes up transformed. You don't arrive. You construct. Day by day, brick by brick. What's holding you back isn't lack of time or talent. It's fear. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. But fear isn't your enemy. It's your compass. It's showing you where the growth is. So what if you fail? Failure is part of the path. Every person who has ever become someone powerful, someone admired, someone effective, has walked through the fire of uncertainty. They stopped waiting to feel ready and started becoming in the face of discomfort. Movement creates clarity. You don't need to know the whole road, just the next right step. Don't obsess over the 10-year plan when you haven't dominated the next 10 minutes. Take action, not random movement, but intentional, focused, uncomfortable action. Every step you take rewires your brain, expands your threshold, and builds your belief. And here's the truth that changes everything. Motivation is a liar. It comes and goes. What matters is what you do when you don't feel like it. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline means choosing what you want most over what you want now. When you act with discipline, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You start training your identity. That's how you become someone new. But becoming doesn't happen in isolation. Your environment either feeds your growth or poisons it. Look at your circle. Look at your routines. Look at what you feed your mind. Are you surrounding yourself with catalysts or cages? Everything you allow into your world either supports who you're becoming or reinforces who you've been trying to escape. So stop waiting. Stop rehearsing the version of you that never gets started. Start becoming the person who acts before they feel like it. The person who gets up when it's hard. The person who builds their life instead of reacting to it. Because here's the bottom line. You're not behind. You're just one decision away. Not one day. One decision. The power is in your hands now. Don't wait another minute. Start becoming. The illusion of the perfect moment is one of the greatest traps that keeps people stuck in cycles of hesitation, overthinking, and regret. So many individuals live their lives in a holding pattern, believing that someday, when conditions are ideal, they'll finally start. They tell themselves they'll act when the fear subsides, when they've learned more, when they feel more confident, when the market is right, when they have more time. But that someday never shows up. And here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It never has. Waiting for the perfect moment is simply a sophisticated form of procrastination disguised as planning. It feels smart, responsible, even strategic. But underneath that surface is usually just fear wearing a clever mask. The people who move forward in life, the ones who break through barriers and become something greater, aren't the ones who waited until all the lights turned green. They're the ones who decided to move even when they were unsure. They took action when the path wasn't clear, when they were nervous, when they still had questions. Because action creates clarity. You don't figure life out by standing still. You figure it out by engaging with it. One step leads to the next. You stumble, adjust, and move again. That's how real progress happens. What keeps so many people waiting is a belief that something outside of them will change first. They're hoping for external permission. They want circumstances to shift, people to approve, risks to shrink. But personal growth and transformation don't start with the world. They start with you. The moment you stop giving power to the outside world and realize that you are the deciding factor in your life, everything changes. The door to your future doesn't swing open because of luck or timing. It opens because you kicked it open with action. When you keep waiting, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't trust themselves to begin. That identity grows stronger with every day you delay. But the second you act, even in a small way, you begin rewriting that identity. You shift from someone who dreams into someone who does. That shift is powerful. It builds momentum, and momentum is more valuable than motivation. It pulls you out of inertia and puts you on a track toward growth. The hard truth is this: life won't wait for you. Opportunities don't wait. Time doesn't pause for your overthinking. If you want change, if you want more, if you're tired of living below your potential, then you've got to make the move before you feel ready. That's how the great ones are made, not by waiting, but by deciding. Becoming the person you were meant to be has nothing to do with your intentions, your hopes, or the plans you've been carrying around in your head for years. It has everything to do with what you actually do. Every single day, your actions are casting votes for the kind of person you're becoming. You can say you want to be more disciplined, more confident, more successful, but if your habits don't align with those desires, your identity won't either. You don't become fit by thinking about working out. You don't become confident by reading about courage. You become those things by doing them again and again until they become part of who you are. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards performance. And performance is built on consistent behavior, not occasional bursts of inspiration. The person you dream of becoming is not hiding behind some future version of you who wakes up one day magically transformed. That person is waiting behind a series of repeated choices. Real change happens when you stop identifying as someone who wants to and start identifying as someone who does. It's not about saying, I want to write a book. It's about becoming the person who writes a page every day, no matter what. That's where transformation begins. People get stuck because they think they need to feel ready before they act. They wait for the perfect mindset, the right mood, the ideal conditions. But identity isn't forged in comfort, it's built in resistance. You build it in the moments when it's hard to follow through, when no one's watching, when the results aren't immediate. It's built in the moments where your old habits try to pull you back and you choose differently. That choice may seem small, but it's powerful. Each time you take an action that aligns with the future you want, you're laying another brick in the foundation of a new identity. So many people walk around with goals that never materialize, not because they lack the ability, but because they never turn their desires into consistent, disciplined action. If you want to be someone who leads, you need to act like a leader before the title is given. If you want to be someone who succeeds, you need to show up like a winner long before the win ever arrives. That's how identity shifts, from the outside in, through repetition, through proof. And the beautiful part is this: the moment you start aligning your actions with the person you want to become, something shifts inside you. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to believe, not because someone told you to, but because your behavior confirms it. Your habits become evidence. And that evidence is the fastest path to lasting confidence, real momentum, and permanent transformation. The truth behind waiting is rarely logic, it's fear. And it's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it disguises itself as caution, as patience, as wisdom. But beneath the surface, most people delay action because deep down, they're scared. Scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared they're not good enough. It's not the calendar that's holding them back, it's the voice in their head. And unless you confront that voice, unless you call it out, and move through it, you'll stay stuck, replaying the same day, the same excuses, the same level of life. Fear is a natural part of growth. In fact, the presence of fear usually means you're standing at the edge of your next breakthrough. But most people misunderstand fear. They treat it as a stop sign instead of a signal. It's not telling you to freeze. It's telling you that you're stepping outside the identity you've lived in for too long. And that discomfort, that stretching sensation, that's what transformation feels like. You don't become stronger by avoiding fear. You become stronger by walking straight into it and proving to yourself that you can handle it. The thing is, fear doesn't go away just because you wait. If anything, it grows stronger the longer you hesitate. It gathers weight, builds layers, feeds off inaction. The longer you avoid taking the leap, the more your mind builds a narrative around why you're not ready. That's the trap. That story becomes your reality, not because it's true, but because you keep reinforcing it with inaction. But fear can be useful if you learn how to harness it. Instead of letting it paralyze you, use it as a guidepost. If it scares you, it probably matters. If it's uncomfortable, it's probably meaningful. The more resistance you feel, the more likely you're moving towards something that has the power to change you. So the question isn't, how do I get rid of fear? It's what can I do in spite of fear? That's the shift that unlocks your power. It's the decision to act not when you're fearless, but when you're afraid and committed anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's your decision that something else matters more. Your growth, your calling, your potential, those things must be louder than your fear. Every time you move through fear, you shrink its grip. You teach your brain that discomfort won't break you, that failure won't define you, that rejection won't destroy you. You earn a kind of quiet confidence that can't be faked. It's built through facing what you once ran from. So when fear shows up, don't wait for it to pass. Don't make it the reason you delay your life. Make it the reason you rise. Let it be the very fuel that drives you to act, to grow, and to become. Movement is the antidote to confusion, fear, and stagnation. When you feel stuck, the last thing you need is more thinking. You don't need more plans, more podcasts, or more pages in your journal. You need movement. One small, imperfect action has more power than hours of overanalyzing. Most people believe they need clarity before they move. But the truth is, clarity comes from movement, not the other way around. You find direction by walking into the fog, not by waiting for the path to clear from a distance. Action illuminates. The moment you take a step, the next one becomes more visible. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or most prepared. They're the ones who move. They don't sit around waiting for every piece to fall into place. They trust that progress creates feedback, and feedback creates growth. Even mistakes serve a purpose. Every misstep brings data, insight, and strength. Every win brings confidence. You learn more from 10 minutes of doing than 10 hours of thinking, because thinking keeps things theoretical. Action makes it real. And this is the secret most people overlook. Momentum is more valuable than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It shows up when it wants. But momentum, once built, becomes a force of its own. It starts small, making the call, writing the first line, waking up on time, doing the thing you said you would, and suddenly that forward energy multiplies. You feel different because you're doing different. You don't wait to feel inspired. You move and the inspiration finds you along the way. When you move, even when it's messy, you're telling your mind a new story. You're proving that you're someone who acts, someone who finishes, someone who follows through. And that belief, built from repeated action, becomes your edge. The world doesn't respond to what you intend, it responds to what you execute. So even when the voice in your head says you're not ready, move anyway. Even when doubt creeps in, move anyway. Because the person you're trying to become is not found in thought, it's forged through action. This doesn't mean you need to have everything figured out. It just means you need to stop waiting for perfect and start leaning into possible. Progress is never clean. You'll stumble, you'll pivot, you'll fail forward, but every step is movement, and movement builds momentum, And momentum creates breakthroughs. So don't wait until you feel bold. Don't wait until it's convenient. Move now, move small, because the moment you do, you shift from a passive observer of your life to an active creator of it. And that one shift changes everything. Discipline will take you places motivation never could. Motivation feels good. It's exciting. It's the rush of energy that hits when you watch something inspiring or have a big idea, but it's also unreliable. It disappears when life gets inconvenient, when the emotions fade, or when things get tough. That's why relying on motivation is dangerous. It tricks people into thinking they'll take action when they feel like it. But high achievers, the ones who consistently grow, build, and elevate, don't operate on emotion. They operate on standards. And those standards are upheld by discipline. Discipline means doing what you said you'd do long after the emotion you made the decision in has faded. It means getting up when it's easier to sleep in, showing up when no one's clapping for you, and pushing forward even when results aren't immediate. It's not glamorous, it's not always exciting, but it's where the transformation happens. Discipline is what forges mental toughness. It rewires your self-image. It teaches your brain that you follow through, that you can be trusted with a commitment even when it's uncomfortable. The beautiful thing is that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you choose action over excuse, structure over chaos, or consistency over comfort, you strengthen that muscle. And with each rep, your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. That's where confidence is built, not in shouting affirmations in the mirror, but in doing the hard things repeatedly until they become who you are. It's easy to work when you're fired up. It's easy to go all in for a few days when inspiration hits. But that's not where greatness lives. Greatness is built in the boring reps, in the quiet hours when no one's watching. It's built in the moments you choose growth over comfort, integrity over ease, and purpose over pleasure. That's where discipline lives. And that's where the results hide. And here's the most important part. When you build a disciplined life, you no longer have to chase motivation. It starts showing up for you. You become someone who is pulled by vision, not pushed by emotion. Your habits begin to carry you through the valleys, not just the peaks. The chaos of inconsistency is replaced by the clarity of structure. So if you're waiting to feel ready, to feel hyped, to feel driven, stop. Instead, start doing. Set a standard, stick to it, and watch how your actions begin to shape a version of you that no longer needs motivation to move. Because discipline has already taken the wheel. Your environment is silently shaping your future. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're being influenced by the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you tolerate, the standards you accept. Your environment is either pulling you forward or holding you back. It's either a cage keeping you trapped in your old identity or a catalyst launching you into your next level. And until you become conscious of that influence, you will continue to wonder why your growth feels blocked, why your energy feels drained, and why your momentum keeps stalling. Look closely at the people around you. Are they stretching your thinking or shrinking it? Are they challenging you to rise or making it comfortable to settle? You can't soar if you're surrounded by people who are grounded in mediocrity. Sometimes it's not that you're weak, it's that your environment makes it easy to stay small. Growth requires tension, and the right environment applies pressure in the right direction. It doesn't let you hide in excuses. It doesn't let you settle for average. It reminds you of who you said you want to become. And it's not just the people, it's the patterns. It's the clutter in your space. The way your phone pulls you into distraction, the habits you repeat every morning. These things may seem small, but they are constantly sending a message to your subconscious about what's normal. And what's normal becomes what's accepted. If chaos is all around you, it will seep into your thoughts, your focus, your drive. But if your environment is designed for growth, if it encourages clarity, structure, and forward motion, you begin to rise, almost without realizing it. You have to become a curator of your life. That means being ruthless about what you allow in. It means setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. It means turning off noise that doesn't feed your purpose, walking away from relationships that drain you, and creating spaces that reflect the future you're building, not the past you're escaping. Your standards shape your surroundings, and your surroundings reinforce your standard. It's a cycle, either one that accelerates your transformation or traps you in who you used to be. The truth is, it's hard to grow in an environment that keeps rewarding your old identity. So change it, audit it, build an ecosystem that supports discipline, movement, and becoming, one that makes it easier to do the hard things, not avoid them. One that aligns with the life you're creating, not the one you've outgrown. When your environment is right, momentum becomes natural, focus sharpens, belief expands, and you stop needing willpower to push yourself because the world around you is already pulling you in the right direction. That's the power of alignment. That's how you stop merely surviving your surroundings and start thriving because of them.